10 years ago, your breakdown in the booth and press conference were like the original viral videos. So that's pretty neat, right? I mean...
There's a lady on my face. Are you kidding me? There's a lady. Give me
I'm sorry. That part, it always gets me.
Steve, there's a lady on my face.
All right, just get it off. Get it off, please.
Get off of where?
Make it go away.
Well, I can't.
No, don't pause. Just get it off of there.
Thing is, I can't get it off because it's on the internet. So it's forever.
It's permanent.
Congratulations on an incredibly funny original show. I don't think I've ever seen a show about a sports announcer before.
I don't know if there's ever been one. I'm trying to. That's a good question. As a sports announcer, I don't think we've seen characters like Bob Uecker in Major League and things like that. But yeah, there's never been one about a sports announcer.
Specifically about the announcer, because he's such a peripheral figure in the game for the most part, even though he's the narrator.
Yeah, he usually is, and this one he's the center of the thing, which is weird. It's one of the many weird things about the show.
Hey guys, so you're primarily known as a voice artist a lot of time because of your work on The Simpsons. You're also an incredible actor.
Voice artist, yes. I create works of art with my voice.
You're a voice actor.
No, I like artist.
You like artists?
It's quite good, yeah.
How did you develop the voice for Brockmire? How did you develop his voice?
Jim Brockmire talks like this.
Yeah.
This is the generic baseball announcer voice that I heard growing up, especially in the 70s. It was also the voice, besides announcing sports, that would sell you things on TV like The Ginsu, or Ranko's Kitchen Magician, Popeil's Pocket Fisherman.
Also like a tobacco lobbyist, it kind of sounds like as well.
A tobacco lobbyist?
Yeah,
why so evil? Why one of the most horrible people on earth does he?
Late 60s, early 70s, nice Southern man, you know. Who's
you mean like would sell you Marlboro cigarettes? Hey, folks, step up to the taste of merit cigarettes. I mean, maybe, yeah.
So what is your process like finding a voice for a character, especially when it's going to be a character that anchors the whole show? Because obviously you can't go too wild with it. He's still got to be an anchor for the show.
Well, this voice has been something I've been imitating since I was a teenager, literally, and it's been an idea in one way or another, really since then, since before I even kind of knew I was going to be an actor, and then for many, many years, been trying to develop. So it started with the voice, really, and then it grew into a short on Funny or Die, and then that grew into this.
And Amanda, when did you get involved?
Hank called me and I got the script and I love Hank and then...
Literally, it's awkward.
It's awkward how much I love you?
Yes.
Like, even right now?
Especially right now. Yeah.
There's a prolonged longing in your eyes right now as you stare at him.
Well, we're both married, you know. It's just kind of weird. You know?
Why don't you calm down?
You're right, of course. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Get up.
Go ahead.
You were saying.
I'm just excited about this mic. Get up. Okay, sorry.
Now you see what I had to deal with, ladies and gentlemen.
So I watched the Funny or Die sketch, and I thought it was funny, very funny, but I sure didn't know how it was gonna turn into 8 episodes of something. And then I read the script, and I thought the script was really, really fun and really different. And I was really excited to play the owner of a minor league baseball team. And I was
really on top of her shit, I'll have to say. As much as the team is kind of like a Bad News Bears to a degree, she seems very much on top of her game.
She's a scrappy, smart person. Yeah. And then this whole idea that they had to have sex because the Frackers finally won after they had sex, I thought was really, really fun.
Also worked out for you because you love Hank so much. So
yes,
it's perfect scenario.
That's probably how it all started. Yeah.
That was you actually whispering in the ear of the writers. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if Hank and I...
Again, make them have sex again. I got another sex scene. Right here, another sex scene is needed.
That was a very good impression of you on the set, yeah.
The team was actually supposed to lose for the entire season of the show.
But another sex scene in this.
Always suggesting sex. Well, the idea is that they get very drunk on Sambuca and have sex, and the team actually wins. So baseball is very superstitious, so they just, they figure they have to do the exact same thing every time, and this team goes on a winning streak, so they keep having sex.
They develop a relationship because of that. They like each other.
All of a sudden, feelings boil up, exactly.
Yes, but it's really fun, the beginning period where they are doing it just for the team is pretty fun.
Yes, as the great Elvin Bishop once said, they fooled around and fell in love.
I love that song.
Great song.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy brought that back.
I always remember that song from Boogie Nights, from a short moment in Boogie Nights.
Oh, I
It's
don't
in
remember it
there
in
somewhere.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. I can't tell you where.
Anyway, but we
Get
digress.
back to our interview.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I loved about the show, and I was complimenting it to Hank in the green room. Was it's a romantic comedy in many ways, and it's not ashamed of being that, which I thought was so interesting because it is in many ways a sort of big, broad comedy that can be kind of raunchy at times, but at the same time, as the show develops, your two characters really kind of fall for each
I
other.
insisted that it be a romance. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
see?
And
See,
then
she really is really creepy with this stuff. No, that's one of the great things about it. Yes, it's a very unsentimental yet highly romantic love story, and it's very raw and it's the short that we did about 8 years ago was kind of I wrote that with some friends, and it was just really a joke. It was a fun sketch or skit, and and then this guy Joel Church Cooper came in and wrote these episodes and saw in it much more depth than I did. Like, he kind of took it seriously. What if a man really disgraced himself and melted down on the air publicly and really had an alcohol problem and was truly heartbroken and had to find his way back into his life? He took that literally, and he did an unbelievable job, as did our director, Tim Kirkby.
Directed the
all of
pilot
them.
for Fleabag as well. He's a phenomenal
Very
television
good, yes.
director. Yeah.
And a lot of Veeps and a lot of great British series. And I didn't realize how deep and dark it was until we started shooting it.
Was that something that you were pitched about the character when they came to you and said, we're going to turn this into a series? Were you like, well, I want to really sort of go into this guy's soul? Or was that something that you were surprised that they brought back to you?
Again, I was the one going to people saying, would you like to try to do that? So I created it from the very early on. And then when I handed it off to the writer, all I said to him was, look, you should probably fall in love with whoever either runs the team or owns the team or promotes the team, about as much as I gave him. And would have probably written the kind of role, what I had in mind was probably the kind of role you would not have done. Seriously.
What does that mean?
Meaning, like, what drew Amanda to it was the fact that this woman is a person in her own right with her own story and her own, she's an interesting character. She's not just propping the male lead up. In many ways, sometimes Brockmire's kind of propping her up. He's bouncing off of her. And right, that's what drew you to it. And she's funny in her own way, and
I would argue that Amanda, no matter what the role, has always kind of been able to do that with incredibly three-dimensional characters, like on Togetherness, or maybe in parts prior where it wasn't as three-dimensional. She was still able to bring a lot of complexity to characters, and I think earthiness that makes them feel natural.
I disagree. I think this
I'm
was the
very
first time she
earthy.
did that. So it's a joke. It's a joke.
I think there's an effortlessness to your performances sometimes that make them feel that way.
Thank you very much.
I agree. Which is why we felt lucky to get her. Look, we offered it to her. We figured we'll never get. Let's offer it to Amanda Peet. Won't get her, and then we'll move on. And then we kind of couldn't believe it when she said yes. And I think it's because of how well it was written.
So they come back to you with these scripts, and it's far darker than you were expecting. Did that scare you a little bit?
Honestly, I didn't even realize it. When you get a green light for a project like this, you're going 900 miles an hour. I was looking at the scripts like, is it funny? Is it smart? Does it make sense? Is the story good? You sort of check these boxes quickly. I wanted hard laughs in them. I was kind of looking for those. They were there. It wasn't until I started working on it as an actor and memorizing them that I was like, is it me or is this quite painful and emotional? It's like more so than some dramas I've done. I'm like, wow, this is... And our director, Tim Kirkby, we'd do a take and it went fine. and he would come in. He's an English guy, and go, mate, that was great, but there's real pain here, man. I mean, look around, like everyone in this bar's really, really screwed up, and their lives are terrible. Have that in your mind when we do the next take.
Does that feel like a new kind of comedy for you? I mean, generationally speaking, you've been in comedy for a while. I mean, if we go back to The Simpsons, like 80, 88, 89, right? Where the laughs are baked into a lot of real pain and drama at this point. We see that with a lot of different comedies.
Well, they always are, and if you're an actor doing it honestly, that should be in there. But more than I thought this was about, there were really not funny things going on. And one of the wonderful things about this lovely modern era of cable television we're in is that you can do that. You can go for 3 minutes and go, let's just explore what's kind of messed up and really sad about this for a little while. And then the laugh is even funnier when you bring it back in.
Amanda, what drew you to your character? What do you think she loves about Jim Brockmire, or is attracted to?
Again, this is going to be awkward.
Amanda, let me just preface this. The character is attraction to Jim Brockmire, not Amanda's attraction to Hank Azaria. Just help.
Yeah, try to separate that out.
He is a celebrity. I think, in her mind, he's a really big celebrity, and even though he's now kind of infamous, I think it's probably pretty exciting that when she sees him in real life, and then I think just their simpatico, their love of baseball and drinking, but mostly baseball, and the fact that he's her ticket, he's her meal ticket, or so she thinks, and so she's kind of willing to do anything. And yes, I really enjoy reading parts for middle-aged women where there's something to play, where she has, a goal and there's a plot and there's something she's trying to achieve, and then we see whether or not she gets to achieve it. And a lot of the roles that I read are so ancillary that you are there's almost just nothing to play. You're just kind of on the side while other people have the action. So
like picking up the phone and being like, no, don't go in there. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or in person, or I've done a lot of roles where I'm on the phone on a road trip movie, which that should tell you everything. Like, if you're going to one location to shoot all your scenes in one day on the phone on a road trip movie, that should tell you that you are doing the girl role. So yeah, I thought Joel did an amazing job bringing her to life, and I'd never seen another part for a middle-aged woman who doesn't have children and whose baby is a minor league baseball team. And not that I want to say I'm sick of those other kinds of mom roles, but this was definitely refreshing, and so I jumped at the chance after Hank told me it was all going to be real. Is it going to be
Gonna be real?
Remember?
Yes, she was very concerned that the tone would be realistic. Yeah, what were your 2 battle cries? Is it real? Do I have to wear my shoes? She was obsessed with these things. You gonna see my feet?
bad
Well, then I'm taking off my shoes. Okay, all right. It's gonna be real.
Yes, I wanted to know that the tone that we were all going to be basically in a real world, because with certain comedies that are slightly off, it's sometimes hard to know what world you're in, and I wanted to make sure we were all going to be in the same world, even though he was going to be doing this bizarro accent.
Yeah, the character's kind of broad. I mean, a guy who really talks like this and goes through life speaking this way to everybody, and relating to them as a baseball announcer might, and even announcing parts of his life, narrating his own day, or narrating the sex they have, which he does. Or that's his version of Dirty Talks. Like, oh, we got a good one going here if you're just joining us. That kind of thing.
Yet she sticks with it.
No, I was laughing so hard that it was like being high in college. Like I could not stop, and we kept trying to regroup, but then it just got funnier. And the more scared I got that we didn't have any money left and that the crew was going nuts, the more it seemed really funny. And it was really bad.
She kept laughing as we're simulating sex with each other, as Brockmire's calling it. And but
think about it. Do what you had to say.
it started off that way, and Brockmire taking no chances, just starting right off in the missionary position, just trying to get a rhythm
Meanwhile,
going
he's
here.
going like this, like right here.
Yeah, and I'm trying to convincingly act like I'm having sex with her, and which again was real creepy because she was much too into it, right?
Even the play-by-play?
No, and then it gets like,
For a while, I was like this.
and a surprise finger in the keister, and Brockmire is into it. It gets weirder and weirder.
Could anyone possibly keep a straight face? You know, my job was just to look lovingly at him and sexily. Obviously, it's a sexy moment if I'm sticking my finger in the whoosy who.
Which is the technical term.
I've never heard whoosy who for the butthole before. I love it.
Anyway.
That's a square dance term, the whoosy who.
Whoosy who?
Howdy, a partner, whoosy who. But you know, she was laughing, but that's in the. She's such a good actress, really, that often I couldn't tell when it was just Amanda laughing at me or it was Julia James laughing at Jim Brockmire. And you know, you probably would laugh if your sexual partner were doing that, and so it seemed great. We just left that take in.
Does Jim Brockmire have issues with sex in general? I mean, his relationship with his ex-wife is based off of her, not to give anything away, but you know, leaving him because she says she's a sexual animal and she wants more sex.
Sexual astronaut, actually.
Sexual
There's
astronaut,
a tremendous difference.
There's a great line. And then we see him exploring these ideas or sort of getting in a new relationship, talking during sex. Have you guys sort of thought about Jim Brockmire's sexuality and sort of...
Almost obsessively, when I'm
what
alone.
it seems like, and I'm curious what your thoughts have been.
I'm going to answer as Jim Brockmire. Yes, this is a man who was dearly, dearly in love with his wife. Signed off every baseball broadcast. Lucy, put supper on the stove, my dear, because this ball game is over. That's the way he ended ball games. Was his childhood sweetheart. Had only ever had sex with this woman. And then walked in on her in the middle of an orgy one day on his way to the ballpark, forgot something at home, and then flipped out, and then blackout drunk on the air, started cursing, screaming, and freaking out, and describing what he saw, which is, you know, her wearing a strap-on and plowing their neighbor Bob Greenwald. And folks, wow, we struck a chord with this young lady right here. And he's announcing this. He's like, hey, for you kids listening at home, a strap-on is a dildo that mommies wear to penetrate daddies. As Pedro delivers a slider right into the dirt, 1-0. He still keeps calling the game. Flips out. So then gets thrown out of baseball and spends about 10 years that we don't see. We see little flashes of just his alcoholism just really blossoms, as does his own sex addiction and drug addiction. And that's when he hooks back up with Amanda's character after 10 years of that and trying to get back into baseball in her little minor league team.
It's a great character. They've done an amazing job crafting this character. I want to turn it over to the audience, but I have to ask a question about some of your previous work, Hank, because I was watching this just the other day. I was watching Heat, and you have that amazing scene. I think it's one of the great scenes of cinema history where Al Pacino yells in your face.
There's a real theme to this interview.
People yelling at?
No.
Great.
Yes. Asses. Al, yes, this moment where Al Pacino yells right into my face, "She's got a great ass."
You've got your head all the way up it.
Thank you. I'm very proud.
It is a scene that I have seen countless times, but every time I see it, I still crack up. It's just incredible.
This scene has stood the test of time. People bring it up to me a lot. And
People ever shout it to you as you're walking down the street? Great ass!
That would be fantastic. No, I haven't heard that yet. But
as you're leaving the building, I'll do it for you.
If Heat's on and you happen to see that scene, you'll see Al yell "great ass," and then my response is you'll hear me go, "Jesus," like that, which I'm not acting. I was genuinely terrified that Al Pacino just because he had never done that. We'd done 90 takes before, and he'd always said, "She got a great ass." He always kind of whispered it. And this time he freaked out, and I got terrified and went, "Jesus." And
I heard that just in the scene. Like,
Yeah,
just
you'll
in
see
a
it's
minute.
right in the scene. They cut it right in.
You're off screen.
Much
you're
like
looking at
Amanda
Alan, you just-
laughing at my sexual hijinks. Gets cut right into Brockmire. My response to Al Pacino is right in heat, yes. And then he ad-libs off it. He goes, I'm sorry. Something happens to me when I think about a woman's ass. Okay, Al. Whatever.
All right, let's get some questions from the audience right here.
Question for Hank. You have played so many amazing characters, whether they be dramedy, or, drama or comedy.
Dramedy is correct.
Dramedy, yeah. But the thing that fascinates me is you always find that humor. And I want to know, where does that come from? Is there a lot of you, the real person, behind all that? I mean, can you give us a little background about your own history and where this humor comes from?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to ask you to sit down. That's the first thing. Because I'm getting nervous. Yeah, comedy, right, comes from usually lonely, weird, painful childhoods. And I always try to find something funny about although, something, even when I'm trying to be serious, it often comes out funny unbeknownst to myself. I don't know exactly why that is, but me trying to be really serious sometimes comes out funny. Sometimes it even bums me out. Like, I was trying to be serious about that. People thought that was really funny. Yes, that character is aware that he's got a sense of humor, but yeah, not to compare myself to the great John Cleese, but he talks about being in a college.
Jesus.
I know.
Wow.
And I'm not. But
I love you, but jeez.
No, I know. No, because I'm a lot better than John Cleese. But so I wouldn't want to slum like that. But he talks about being doing a college production of, I think it was Faust, and he's playing Lucifer. And he comes out and very serious. He goes, I am Lucifer. And he was trying to be really terrifying, and the entire audience just fell down laughing at him as announcing himself as Lucifer. He's like, I wasn't trying to be funny. That's how I feel a lot of the time. I'm like, it's like when I try to dance well, it just seems funny, like I'm trying to be funny.
Has that ever happened to you while you were trying to do dramas, when you were performing in a dramatic film or something, and you kept being funny to the director or something, and they were trying to give you a note to be more serious, and you didn't really know how to get there because you thought you were already being serious?
Yes. They thought I was kidding. I'm like, no, I'm trying to seriously do that. Or also, when I used to audition for commercials, I would try as hard as I could to earnestly pitch the product. They're like, okay, you sound sarcastic. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, seriously, this mug is great, really. Like, yeah, we're not convinced. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, it's best I can do.
Next question. Step up.
Hello, this is a question for Hank. Throughout your career, which character's voice was the hardest for you to develop?
To develop?
Yes, or do, yeah.
The hardest voice I do on The Simpsons is Duffman. I can't do it too much because I blow my voice out. I always have to save Duffman for the end of the recording because if I do it first, then I can't do any other voices afterwards. You're fascinated, aren't you?
I kind of am.
Duffman! I can't do it too much, or I'll...
Which would be your favorite?
My favorite voice is Professor Frank. You're too young to remember, young man, but there was a nutty professor before Eddie Murphy, and it was Jerry Lewis, of course. Probably the lovely Amanda Peet is too young to remember this, but I
Definitely.
definitely too young to remember it, yes. Very young. But yes, Jerry, I enjoy Professor Frank. Thank you very much. And sit down. Don't walk up on me like that. Just sit yourself down again.
I think I have time for one more right here.
Hey, guys. So do you guys watch baseball, or did you have to watch any baseball to get ready for the show? And also I like the look of Brockmire. How did you come up with the jacket and the way it looks?
Why don't you answer the baseball question, Amanda?
Why don't you answer the jacket question, Hank?
I will. You first.
I know nothing about baseball. And when I say I know nothing, I don't feel like very many people ever make it to first base. I feel like you have to wait a really long time, and it's really weird how boring it is.
And I love that is the extent of your knowledge about baseball. I love that.
So even though I watched the documentary about the Portland Mavericks, and I watched Ken Burns' baseball documentary, I still had to have Hank tell me whether I was happy or sad and which base the ball was being thrown to or the person was going to, whether that makes me happy or sad.
She was like, okay, a strikeout, is that good? I'm like, no, it's good if you're pitching, it's bad if you're hitting. Okay, so I'm sad about this. Yes, you don't like the strikeout. Literally, we're on that level.
This is after watching Ken Burns' 12-hour documentary about baseball.
In my defense, we didn't have a lot of time or money, so
how is that a defense?
Because we were doing like close-ups where I was responding to nothing, but with just little things where they'd be like, that's third base, that's second base, and
That's true. So it was hard for her to picture the action she was responding to. So we very much had to spoon feed her. Just look happy right now, and it'll cut it.
Me?
No, you look very happy. Well, that was me talking to Amanda.
The truth is I need Hank to do that in all my performances all the time. But yeah.
And the jacket, I actually found that jacket myself in a thrift store in Los Angeles. It's based on that's the original jacket. I grew up a Mets fan. Lindsey Nelson, who was an old Mets broadcaster, used to always wear loud jackets like that. And so I wanted it to be an homage to Lindsey Nelson. And it seemed like this guy was like a peacock, like the late Craig Sager and Walt Frazier now. He seemed like the kind of announcer that would show himself off that way.
Guys, Brockmire premieres tonight at 10 p.m. on IFC. It's incredibly funny and oddly sexy, surprisingly sexy. I said I wasn't expecting that. Congratulations on the show. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Brockmire, 10 p.m. IFC tonight.